Hey guys, it's Mag212. I'm making another video. Sorry I've been gone for so long, very busy with school like I've been saying. I'm trying a new style of overview video, so tell me in the comments if you like this kind of style of video better. This is my modified Nerf Alpha Trooper with a Firefly stock integration, and I gave it a really cool paint job, and I also did some LEDs which look pretty cool. And I'm just going to go over the modifications first, then I'll talk about what paints I used for the paint job, and I'll show you it firing. So for internal modifications, I took out the air restrictor, and I also added a Orange ModWorks 5 kilogram spring. Other than that, I did pad the plunger head so that when you fire the gun, it doesn't end up breaking itself. There was another modification that was performed on this blaster, although it was not by me. When I got this Alpha Trooper, I got it off of Nerf Haven, and the previous owner had put a brass barrel in. He used 1732 brass, and he basically shoved it down the dart breech, and then he kind of cut it. It was a little rough, so I cleaned it up a little bit. I think that it's really cool, and it's especially good for worn darts, but I'm not seeing substantial performance increases from the brass barrel. Those are pretty much all of the internal performance modifications. I did re-lubricate the bolt sled a little bit so that the prime is very smooth. On the externals, I'll go over this integration first. The back portion right here is actually a Nerf Firefly from the N-Strike line. I had to modify the grip of the Alpha Trooper a little bit by cutting it down, and I definitely had to cut down the Firefly, and then I used epoxy putty and hot glue to integrate the two shells. I'll just do a little close-up on the epoxy putty work because I think I did a pretty good job. This is all epoxy putty, but I sanded it down with sandpaper so it's very smooth and very inconspicuous. Now I'll go over the most interesting part of this modification, which is the LEDs. The LEDs are powered by this switch right here, and when you turn that switch on, you have 4 LEDs here, 2 on this side and 2 on the other side. And the same thing here, you have 2 LEDs here and 2 on the other side, making 4. And on the top of the Alpha Trooper, there are also about 6 LEDs in there. The LEDs, for some reason, never look good on camera or video, so they look a lot better in person. They're a little better diffused and a little more reddish. But yeah, these are red LEDs I got from superbrightleds.com. I wired them all in parallel, which means I soldered the positives of the LEDs to the positives and the negatives to the negatives. The LEDs are running off of a 9-volt battery in the reverse side of the Alpha Trooper stock, which is the Firefly. But I think the LEDs look really cool. If you look up in here, you can actually see the 4 red LEDs, and those are just shining down to give the Alpha Trooper a cool little glow effect. And I also have some LEDs up in the grate of the Alpha Trooper barrel, and those LEDs are activated when you pull the trigger, which is really cool. So when you prime the Alpha Trooper and you fire, this will light up on the fire, which kind of simulates the muzzle flash on real firearms. If you want to see more on the LEDs, you can go see my other video. I actually, in the video, show a time-lapse version of me just soldering the LEDs. But I'm just going to turn off these LEDs now because I'm going to go over the paint job. The paint job for the Alpha Trooper started off with a Duplicolor black vinyl dye base coat. And after I did that, I have some Citadel red, which is corn red. No, it's not corn like the vegetable. It's Khorne, if you're curious. It's a very nice red. It doesn't show up very well on my picture camera, but it shows up fairly well on my video camera. And then, of course, after everything, as you can see, I have brushed on a little bit of silver. In case you didn't know, that's a technique called dry brushing. Basically what you do is you take your paintbrush, dip it in paint, and then you rub most of it off, which is why it's called dry brushing, and then you run your brush across the edges and the surface of the blaster, and it'll give you this cool kind of worn texture, which makes the gun look really cool. And then of course I have a Duplicolor matte clear coat all over the whole thing, so the paint is very durable and hopefully it won't scratch away. I'll just do some close little zooms on the paint job because I think it turned out really nicely. The details are all very clean, and I also did the Nerf logo up here, which as you can see looks pretty good if I do say so myself. So I think I have sufficiently covered everything you really need to know about this gun, so now let's go see it fire. Firing on the blaster is pretty normal for a spring-replaced Alpha Trooper. It's not nearly as powerful as some of the other guns I've modified, but I wasn't really going for a super hard-hitting Nerf gun. I think this was just a really cool-looking project, and it's nice that it's shooting a little harder than regular Nerf guns. I've measured it with my chronograph, and it seems to be about 85 feet per second on average, which is pretty good. Overall, this was just a really fun modification project, and I really enjoy doing these modifications videos, and I hope that I continue to do them for a while. I will try to upload more videos soon, guys. That's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.